Welcome to Thesis video number 2. So you guys are probably asking, how do I create a thesis? It's important to understand here that a thesis is a result of a lengthy thinking process. It doesn't just happen right away. Formulating a thesis is not the first thing you do when you're doing an essay assignment. Before you actually create any argument, you got to look at evidence, you got to look at relationships, you got to look at facts. And you have to think of the significance of those relationships and those facts and that evidence. We have partially done that research in looking at the difference between Federalists and Republicans. Once you have done that research, you probably have some sort of working thesis, which means some sort of idea in your head that you could possibly support with evidence. Both the argument and your thesis are likely to need adjustments along the way, and that is 100% okay. So the most important question that we're trying to answer, how do I know if my thesis is strong? First thing you have to do, ask yourself, do I answer the question the teacher is asking? Reread the prompt. Make sure you are hitting exactly what the teacher is asking. Second thing you ask yourself, have I taken a position others might challenge or oppose? It's not just an essay over facts, okay? You have to present some sort of argument that others could argue against you with. Third thing, ask yourself, is my thesis statement specific enough? I see a lot of thesis statements that are too vague. Often they do not have a strong argument. Okay, so if your thesis contains words like good or successful, you gotta be more specific. How is it good? How is it successful? Specific, specific, specific. Fourth thing you ask yourself, does my thesis pass the so what test? If a reader's first response is likely to be, so what? Why does this matter? You gotta form some sort of relationship there. Connect it to a larger issue. Next thing, ask yourself, does my thesis or does my essay support my thesis specifically without wandering? Your thesis is the roadmap for your essay. Your thesis directs what your essay is going to talk about. If your essay ever wanders from your thesis statement, it should not be included. Last thing you ask yourself, does my thesis pass the how and why test? If a reader's response is how or why, probably your thesis is too open-ended, and therefore it lacks guidance. So how can you be more specific for your reader to understand your position right from the beginning? Let's go over an example of this. Suppose that your teacher gave you the following prompt. Write an analysis of some aspect of Mark Twain's novel, Huckleberry Finn. You maybe never heard of this. That's okay. We'll just use this as an example for right now. So you write, Mark Twain's Huckleberry Finn is a great American novel. That is your thesis. So this is a weak thesis. The reasoning why it is a weak thesis is that most likely your teacher is not asking you to give an appreciative summary of Twain's novel. That's not what the prompt was asking. Okay? But the question did ask you to analyze the novel. So your teacher is not interested in your opinion of it. Instead, he or she wants you to think about why it is such a great novel. As you can see, the thesis doesn't answer the why question. So you want to tell us about stuff that happens in the book that make it such a great novel. The adventures of the main character. The coming of age about the main character. About the race issues in the story. So in reworking this thesis, remember the topic always. Okay, so first, this prompt, write an analysis of some aspect of Mark Twain's novel Huckleberry Finn, asks you to pick an aspect of the novel that you think is important to the meaning of it. For example, it could be the role of storytelling and how that plays an important role in the book. the scenes between the shore and the river, because that's an important part of the book. Are the relationships between adults and children? That is also an important part of the book. Then you create a thesis based on an important aspect. You rework it and you say, in Huckleberry Finn, Mark Twain develops a contrast between life on the river and life on the shore. Okay, this is a lot better. This thesis has potential, as the important aspect of the novel is now officially in the thesis. However, it is still not clear what your analysis is going to reveal. The so what question. Okay? As your reader, I'm intrigued. I want to know, but I'm still asking, so what? Why does this matter? What is the point of this? What does it signify? Maybe you're not sure either. That's okay. But you gotta compare, you gotta keep comparing, and you got to answer that so what question. The main question here is, now, how do I improve? How do I actually do that? Free write, make lists, whatever works for you. Jot down different parts. Eventually, you're going to be able to clarify why it is important and why it actually matters. Okay, I've kind of helped you with the paper we're going to write. I've helped you make that connection. Hopefully it stuck with you. Maybe it didn't. That's okay. But try to connect it to your life. Therefore, in this example, in making the connection, the so what question, you write, through its contrasting river and shore scenes, Twain's Huckleberry Finn suggests that to find a true expression of American democratic ideals, one must leave civilized society and go back to nature. That is the important. That is the so what. You can see how specific it is. You can see that it answers all the questions that were highlighted in the first part of the video. So this is a good interpretation of how you want to base your thesis statement. Okay, present evidence along the story, but it must always connect to the thesis.